Good morning, I'm Maiki, Oreta, and welcome to Industry Beacon, where we shine a light on the trailblazers, the disruptors, the titans of industry shaping our future. And here with me today is my co-host, Jack Madrid.
Thanks, Maiki. Here at Industry Beacon, we are not just talking about success stories. We're diving deep into the hearts and minds of the leaders in their respective industries and to see what drives them.
Now, data analytics and artificial intelligence is on the rise globally, and here in the Philippines, it's gaining significance across various sectors, from finance to healthcare, retail, education, real estate, and government services. Data analytics and AI are huge game changers.
One group in particular is helping advance the industry here in the country, the Analytics and AI Association of the Philippines, led by today's guest, Michelle Alarcon, the president of AAP.
Thanks for being here with us, Michelle.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, to get the ball rolling, we've been analyzing data sets for thousands of years. So it's a total game changer, but before we get to that intersection between analytics and artificial intelligence, let's frame this discussion. Can you talk to us, distinguish the difference between analytics and AI, and then after that, AI and what is generative AI?
Okay. So first, let me start with analytics. It's been there ever since we started, ever since databases, in fact, were invented or came about. So to be a bit more accurate, so that's around 1970s when database management systems came about. And the importance of that particular milestone in technology is that we're able to now store data more efficiently. Instead of, if you remember, logging everything in like a journal book, like for your accounting entries, right? So now everything is in a system, everything is in a database, and that has allowed businesses and organizations to properly analyze the data and have visibility almost real time on their businesses. Now, with analytics, again, it's been there. Statistical analysis, everything was done manually. There were no software applications for that. And while there has been a lot of data analysis work in the past, with analytics, we have better tools. We take advantage of a cheaper storage of data in these databases, hard disks. And so everything is now it's coming to you fast. The data that you're able to access is now, with more volume, more variety, more different structures. So we had to progress in terms of the level of skills and competencies as well that are needed to do these analytics. Now AI is all about, I guess, how we see AI now is how it is very relatable to us, like it's very human-like. So how does analytics now, is that even related to AI? No? Because we may imagine AI to be just these chatbots that are very intelligent and speak and respond to us like humans. But it's been also present in businesses, in organizations, even in the past. As I talk about statistical analysis and data analysis, AI has been there to help us with what we call like machine learning algorithms. This is also an AI, a part of AI. And what this has allowed businesses and organizations, even up to this day, is that it has helped us automate, let's say, predictions on our sales forecasts, or what would be the optimal ways to use our resources best to achieve business results. And with generative AI, which started in 2022, it really disrupted organizations, globally, not just businesses. Everyone's lives have been disrupted because what is this human-like technology? And it's not relatable to the tech that we used to know, which is information systems, databases. And this is what I guess is more exciting these days because it becomes accessible to everyone. Analytics, I'd have to say it was a bit elitist in the sense that only those who know how to use the techniques are able to do proper data analysis. Like for organizations, I remember when we started the association in 2018, people felt it was like, okay, where do we find these data scientists? Do we have to hire like PhDs and all? But now with AI, businesses and organizations are seeing that you can even just upload your data sets, and then it will help you, the AI will help you come up with the analysis and even interpret for you what would be the best courses of action. Of course, that needs validation of subject matter experts and business experts. But this is what has allowed organizations to do. It made everything easier. Right? And I guess that is a good thing for businesses to not be afraid anymore that this technology is, it requires so much resources, a very skilled workforce, and so on. It allows businesses, even small businesses, to see that this could be as accessible to me if I just have the proper data sets. So I go back to that.
Thank you for explaining the link between AI and analytics, Michelle. Where does the Philippines stack up? How can you describe the current data analytics landscape in the country?
We have definitely progressed in terms of using it for businesses and organizations. I'd have to say that there's still a lot to catch up on. When we look at the types of services, the types of products that we avail of here coming from local companies, how high-tech they are, how sophisticated they are, and how they leverage on the data that they actually have in their organizations. It's actually hard to distinguish if this is a personalized recommendation, for example, for me. If you're using an e-commerce application, you're using it for, as a consumer, you can see that the recommendations sometimes are off. Sometimes it's spot on. The ones that appear on your news feed as you are scrolling down on your maybe Facebook page, you'll see very targeted ads to you. That is an illustration of how advanced we can say that company is, that e-commerce platform is in terms of using analytics and AI. Okay. But we know that our companies here, not all are at that level. So we can say that they're not yet leveraging on their own data.
Can just give us some more concrete examples. Can you give us some practical applications, examples of practical applications of AI across various industries in the country?
We also don't need to go far, because we also have a lot of these applications here. So, for example, in the financial institutions, we would say at the AEP, we have done this study in 2021, and looking at the analytics maturity of different industries, and top of the list of those who are already mature, actually financial institutions, and we attribute that to them being sort of under a regulatory environment, and the BSP particularly requiring them to declare the algorithms that they use to, for example, grant loan applications, right? Which is before it was manually done, it was based on experts' opinions and so on. But then data analytics came about, so you have more relevant data sets to gauge or to assess the decision that you have to make. And then AI, with the evolution of these technologies, now AI is helping us get more relevant data sets that's out there outside of your organization, but also it gives you more insights based on how other industries or how other companies have also done that similar function. So with that trend in the financial institutions, at least, we see that there are more products being customized for different customer segments. And I would say that is a very good use, and if not an ideal use of data and analytics for this type of industry. We have fintechs that are very competitive these days, and they're powered by data, as we can see. They're powered by AI. Even fraudulent transactions, as you try to swipe or flash your QR code for payment, they will already be able to spot if it is possibly a fraudulent transaction. And that is an application of data, analytics, and AI altogether.
It's becoming clear to all of us, Michelle, that it's all about the data. Data
Yes.
needs to be organized, structured, cleansed in order for generative AI to be as influential as it promises to be. What are some of the challenges that Philippine companies have in implementing data analytics initiatives?
Because, as you mentioned, Jack, that it is really data at the core, whether it's simple reporting, it's predictive analytics, it is AI and generative AI, it's still data at the core. So I would share this insight that as we go around, at least in the private sector, the hype on AI is really it has just increased over the months, but then it has sort of following the hype cycle. It's sort of tapering down, and I think the reason for that is now they have that realization that it's still based on clean data, or it's still based on reliable data. In fact, it's also based on how my processes are actually digitally transformed, because when a process is broken, well, AI will just basically automate that, right? So it now is giving an opportunity for our organizations to actually step back and assess what are their data strategies? What are they on track on their digital transformation roadmaps? Because, and this is a good thing, right? I say that this is a good thing. Sort of the AI hype has brought this realization for the businesses, because everyone wants to leverage on AI.
Yeah, on that point, everyone wants to leverage on AI. A lot of the bigger firms, the big industries are employing AI in their services. How can we democratize AI so that the MSMEs and others can gain from this technology?
That is, I would say, even at the personal level, that is also my personal aspiration. How can the mom and pops, even get on the data platforms right by themselves? Of course, we see that as maybe a bit expensive. I would say they would think, okay, I cannot buy this software and so on. But first, I would answer democratization on three things, right? One is technology, infrastructure that is needed to power AI, for them to have access. You need digital connectivity, obviously, to have access. These MSMEs are not necessarily like the big companies with big data centers, but they would need to be on a cloud and so on, right? So that's one. So another thing is on the skill sets that they have, the competencies. They would fear that, okay, I do not have the budget to hire these data scientists or these AI engineers or even a data analyst. I'll try to do everything on my own, and I have an Excel sheet and maybe that's enough, right? So how do you democratize skills and competencies and gaining these? We do not, I always say in the talks that I have that the answer is not always, let's leave it up to the government, right? So we actually, as an association, have put together a very accessible way for schools, public schools, private schools, training firms to get standardized on analytic skills framework. So this is actually together with the DICT, we have formed the Philippine Skills Framework for Analytics and AI. So this helps everyone to get on the same page when we say that I want to be a data analyst. What does that mean? Can the Department of Education, for example, provide early subjects on data literacy and how are they going to create that curriculum, right? But also in the same using the same framework, the CHED, for example, and even the TESDA can use the same skills framework to identify what is the right level for the students or the learners that are trying to get into this field. And the MSME, if I'm the MSME, I can also use the framework and say that, okay, I think I can learn these very basic business management using Excel, right? So we have to break it down into that level of detail when it comes to learning which particular skills, because if we, having learned, I guess, as an association, having learned from the past when we were just talking about data science, and the impression is that only PhD graduates can actually do that. So now we are learning from that lesson and making sure that we are focused on democratizing these skills.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought up the Philippine Skills Framework, or PSF
Yes.
for short. What are some of the skills gaps, Michelle, that you see in our existing workforce and in the incoming generation of job seekers?
Right.
So that we can, have a more competitive workforce? Where does the PSF come into play?
The very first layers of the PSF, because there are many layers, like you can start as a data associate, for example. It is, the prerequisite is, of course, data literacy. What is data? We're not teaching that right now, in even, I think, senior high school. We do teach research, we do teach statistics, but we have to bring it down to the level of, maybe even grade 4, or maybe even grade 3. We have to remember that the new generation. Before, I remember, because I'm a different generation, so they were digital natives. But now they may be AI native. They expect to learn things quickly and to be everything is within is just a chat GPT away. I don't know. Maybe this is how they are when they start learning. So they have to be first aware of how this actually works by understanding that this is being fed by data that is available in different sources, but also that we have to teach also responsible use of data at the early age. So going back to the PSF, digital literacy, social responsibility on handling data and ethical use of data, those are also included there. But I would say that this has to be in all frameworks, not just for analytics and AI, because again, this is a different world that we live in now. This is now an AI era.
Okay. Now, you talked about ethical considerations. Now, this is an area where we need a lot more accountability. What are the consequences of this current paradigm we have where we don't have much accountability in this space?
The consequences, I would have to say that we need to engage a bigger audience when we talk about consequences, because it's not just a consequence for the business that there is loss of opportunity, maybe savings, expected savings, and loss of revenue and so on. It is bigger than that because it is ethical considerations, ethical consequences. So we want to advocate, we are advocating for a risk-based approach. When we talk about encouraging innovations in AI. So in the discussions about promoting the use of AI for innovation, we tackle that in parallel with ethical use and responsible use of AI. So first is we want to institutionalize what is really a responsible use of AI. How do you know that it is responsible use? So together with the government agencies, the DTI leading the AI governance framework, so the AAP is working with them along with the DICT, the DOST, and other agencies. Also international organizations to align on how they have implemented actually these frameworks for their respective countries. Ethical considerations are actually falling under different buckets. Like, for example, the healthcare industry already have ethical standards, right, in their practices. If it's maybe in the education space, it's also a different set of ethical standards. The DOST, just for research and innovation, they have an ethical board review process. So what is common across all these standards? And how are they related, or how do they need to broaden in the AI discussion? So this is something that we, as an association, I'm volunteering the rest of the members in the board, but we would love to have these discussions per industry, because that's how it needs to be done. There's high risk consequences, obviously for medical industries, and there are also low risk consequences. If let's say the recommendation of something like Netflix to you is wrong, how harmful is that, really? But when a self-driving car makes a mistake and it's AI,
it's a bigger issue.
Obviously it is a bigger issue. So that's how we need to approach this. It's not like all AI is bad, or that's not really what we are supposed to make people aware of. We have to say that we have to evaluate the possible risks, the potential risks that, and it's different per industry.
Okay.
Final question, Michelle. Can you share some of the initiatives or programs that the AAP is supporting in either AI and data analytics, or even women empowerment in tech? Choose one.
Oh, can I do all? So AAP is you would classify AAP maybe as analytics and AI in general. It's an ecosystem that we're building, but we also focus on practitioners. So we have just very recently launched the Responsible AI Council, just focusing on how the practitioners will need to be the first level of like an ethical self-evaluating when they build AI. So the very first deliverable we're hoping to launch that this year is the Code of Ethics for AI practitioners. And we also work with organizations so that they are ready for analytics and AI implementations. What do they need to be ready, right? So we work with organizations like UNESCO and other organizations to make sure that they're not just looking at technology, infrastructure, data, but also on the people aspect. Right? And then lastly, constantly working with academic institutions and learning providers so that we have the Philippine Skills Framework actually realized and updated, and it becomes very, very practical as well to implement, and then many others.
All right. Last question from me, really briefly. What excites you the most and what scares you the most about this technology?
What scares me the most is that it is still hard to explain, even among experts themselves, how it behaves. But that is also what excites me the most, which is strange. But what excites me is that the possibilities that are still not being realized. With the ones that has launched a generative AI in 2022, it's not yet fully tapped for its potential. So that is still very, very exciting for all of us.
All right, we're just at the cusp of new beginnings. Thank you so much for your time, Michelle, the president of the AAAP.
Thank you.
And that's it for today's show. I'm Maiki Oreta. Catch the Billionario News Channel on Free TV Channel 31 and on cable via Cignal Channel 24.
And I'm Jack Madrid. Thanks for watching Industry Beacon, the Billionario News Channel, always on top.